My mission is simple, to make you money. I'm here to level the playing field for all investors. There's always a bull market somewhere, and I promise to help you find it. Mad Money starts now. Hey, I'm Cramer. Welcome to Mad Money. Welcome to Cramerica. Other people want to make friends. I'm just trying to help you make some money. My job is not just to entertain you, but to educate and teach. So call me at 1-800-743-CNBC or tweet me at Jim Cramer. Santa's not only coming to town, he came early. The Santa Claus rally got rolling on Monday, and he's been leaving us presents ever since, including today, where the Dow gained 197 points, rarefied territory. The S&P climbed 0.62%, new all-time high, and the Nasdaq jumped 0.85%. And hey, why not? We've gotten some great news on the COVID front over the past couple of days. That's pretty defining. Even though Omicron is exploding across the country, the government's finally gotten serious about testing. And it's looking like the strain is less lethal than the previous ones, especially if you're fully vaccinated. Throw in the new antiviral pills from Pfizer and Merck, which you can take when you're symptomatic. And it's like the pandemic has been downgraded from, say, a Category 5 hurricane to maybe a tropical storm. Without the prospect of a shutdown or a lockdown on the rise, remember, that's what really crushes the market. But then stocks have been prepared to rally hard, purely on the strength of seasonal patterns, fund flows. And as you can tell, the absence of bad news, nothing's happening. It really is the most wonderful time of the year, at least if you own stocks. So as we wrap up 2021, I think it's ideal time to give out some fantastic presents. Why don't we call them, how about the Cramies? Named after, well, me, because it's my show. To those who helped us make money while handing out lumps of coal, and let's make it anthracite to those who've done real damage to our portfolios. I'm sure they're going to love that part. The first Crammy goes to Pfizer, which distinguished itself not once, but twice this year. First having a booster vaccine ready, and then coming up with an antiviral pill that stops COVID in its tracks for 89% of the people who've been infected. Come on, it's like genius. For years, Pfizer stocks has just languished. Going into the pandemic, Wall Street was petrified of its upcoming patent cliff. Now, with the vaccine boosters and the antiviral pill, where they could sell tens of millions of these things if they can make them, can't make them fast enough, obviously, you could easily argue that the stock's run from 37 to 58 doesn't even go far enough. By the way, I am stunned that our government didn't take its cue from Pfizer and tell us that we probably need 3 or 4 vaccinations to stay ahead of the COVID paucity. They did know. Instead, they called it a booster and made people feel like our public health experts were totally clueless. Pfizer was always concerned. They've been so consistent. Second, Cramey, what goes to, I know, David Faber would say, of course, Jim, Nvidia, which put on a great show this year as its stock surged from 130 to 296 on the back of the best chips for gaming, high-performance computing, autonomous driving, and the metaverse, or the Omniverse, as they call it. Their Omniverse graphics card can help create perfect lifelike imitations that can be used to make a digital twin of pretty much anything. Whenever you hear a company like Meta Platforms, the artist formerly known as Facebook, talking about the potential of the metaverse, know that it's probably going to be powered by the likes of Nvidia. For me, it's the enterprise side of the story that gets me excited. This technology will be used to create digital twin factories in order to help businesses come up with better designs and eliminate, most importantly, waste, which is probably going to be one of the biggest stories for the rest of the century. Eliminating waste. What manufacturer wants to shut things down as it figures out how to improve its processes and waste less? Much easier just to use a digital twin. Meanwhile, it won't be long before we have digital avatars taking our orders at fast food restaurants. I bet they make far fewer mistakes than humans, maybe none of them. They speak in 28 languages. Even if I'm totally wrong about what the metaverse will look like, I know it will run on NVIDIA's chips, which is what really matters here. Under the leadership of Jensen Huang, the visionary CEO, the company's leaving the rest of the industry in the dust. The next one feels a little trite, but I'm giving a Cramer to Elon Musk, and not just because I'm cribbing from Time magazine. This guy's revolutionized the auto industry. He's made his shareholders fortunes in the process, with the exception of Ford's Mustang Mach-E. A big shout out, by the way, to Ford's Jim Farley, who took his stock from $8 and change to $20 on the backs of great cars like that one. Elon Musk remains the king of electric vehicles, if not the king of all tax-paying capitalists, and he's still just getting started. He's kind of actually joyful now. Fourth, Cramey, we don't often salute the oils, but I think it would be nuts not to celebrate Rick Moncrief at Devon Energy. The the oil and gas producer with a stock that jumped from $15 to $42. Rick was formerly the CEO of WPX and then merged his company with a much bigger Devon, keeping the CEO title and turning the combined entity into a disciplined oil juggernaut. The new Devon is a different kind of oil company. It's one that cares about rewarding shareholders rather than spending like a drunken sailor on new wells. And that's how the variable dividend can give you an equivalent of a nearly 8% yield. Close second in the oil patch, and by no means do I mean to slight, is Scott Sheffield, Pioneer Natural Resources, who's done pretty much the same thing. In the old days, the words discipline and oilman almost never belonged in the same sentence. That's all changed now. Pioneer's also got a new emphasis on trying to be cleaner and greener. What's not to like? Final Cramey, obvious, Apple. Okay, Apple stock has rallied 33% year to date. Can you believe that? It's the largest company on earth. This was one more year, though, where the analysts wouldn't stop downgrading it and reporters wouldn't stop trashing it. All you had to do was ignore them and follow my sage advice: own Apple, don't trade it. So with the awards out of the way, who deserves a lump of coal for costing us money? All right, let's start with the People's Republic of China. For decades, China was communist in name only, but suddenly the government is returning to its Maoist roots. Had to happen eventually. And that's decked pretty much every major Chinese stock from Alibaba to JD.com, which just got hit today with a big chunk of its own shares being dumped by Tencent. I think that was government ordered that. I'm not kidding. Has President Xi lost his mind? Not at all. In order to tamp down on internal dissent, he's going after the super rich. And most people in China, who, by the way, are not super rich, seem to love it. Just another reason not to own Chinese stocks, though. Next, I have to say that the SPACs and their shameless sponsors have done more to damage the stock market than anything since the dot-com collapse. Almost all of these are bad. I wish the SEC would just shut these deals. Why do people keep buying them? A fool and his money are easily parted by a SPAC. It would be okay if we didn't have so many regular IPOs, but they're coming in record numbers too. And now the market's drowning in supply of both IPOs and SPACs. Third lump of coal, I don't like what Biogen has done with its Alzheimer's drug, but I'm even more disappointed in the doctors who on the FDA who approved it and went against the panel of doctors who actually analyzed the thing. Alzheimer's is now a two-horse race, and I'm putting my money on Eli Lilly. Their drug comes up for FDA approval next year. Stock was very strong today. But while we're heaping shame, can I just say that Mo, Larry, and Curly of this pandemic are the CDC, the FDA, and the NIH? Even when they're right, they're doing damage because they either have differing messages or no messages. Some shoot from the hip, others say nothing. I think our democracy has been poorly served by these bureaucrats. I know the Biden administration wanted to defer to the scientists, but they've taken that way too far. Finally, let's not forget about ATT. Wrecked by management, the company destroyed one of the most pristine balance sheets in the industry with questionable acquisitions to the point where it had to cut the one thing investors actually wanted from the company, the dividend. Shameless. Just shameless. Bottom line, look, I don't want to end on being a Grinch. 'Tis the season to be jolly. So let's just say that with the averages up nicely, it's terrific that Santa Claus has been hanging around town. Let's take some questions. Let's go to Steve in California. Steve.
Booyah, Jim, and major props for playing hurt. I'm calling about Lowe's.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. As an employee, I can purchase shares pre-tax with a 15% discount. What do you think about Lowe's?
Take as much as you can. I think Lowe's is going to have a great year. I think Marvin Ellison's doing fantastic just to still continue to revitalize the chain. I also think that, by the way, it's going to be another good year for making your house look better. Lowe's is a winner. I like it very much. Let's go to Corey in Massachusetts. Corey.
Jim, thanks for having me, man. Hey, listen, I've been a caller and avid watcher of the show since 2012, and, man, I can't believe Arena Pharmaceuticals with that Pfizer thing last week. You remember that one?
How do you like that? How do you like that? Pfizer's got a ton of money. They're taking a lot of shots. What's going on?
Yeah, not much. Hey, thanks again for having me on. So, listen, I've been trying to find some stocks that have been beaten down, obviously with the pandemic, right? I've been looking for strong network effects. And got to tell you, I think this guy, he's a world-class CEO. I think they've been executing, as you probably know, very good throughout the pandemic. What are your thoughts on Uber? They were able to get a profit going this past quarter. But curious to get your thoughts here on the long-term, aspects.
Well, First, thank you for those kind words. Now, I've got to tell you, Corey, I was studying this stock today because I saw it at 35 last week. Suddenly, it's at 44. That shows me there's a lot of tax loss selling that is now gone. I agree with you. It's well run. I think it's got a chance to have a big year in 2022. Thank you for those words. Santa Claus has been hanging around town this week. And in the spirit of giving, I've handed out presents to those who are on this year's good list. Pfizer, Nvidia, Elon Musk, Devon Energy, Pioneer Natural Resources, and Apple. On Mad Money tonight, as we hunker down to make it through the next few weeks of the Omicron breakout, I'm going to sit down with the CEO of Box to find out if the public company now could be the perfect investment for the moment. Then before we close the door on 2021, I'm tackling one of the strangest stories of the year, the destruction of the SPACs and the destruction of your capital, and pointing out the plays that could survive the SPAC-lash, trying to take a positive approach. And it's the season of giving. To celebrate, I'm highlighting one private company that's developed a unique way to give back. I hope you'll give back too. And stay with Cramer.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.